Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Tricked Before. This time, When the Bough Breaks. Yeah, it sounds like, I guess that's not Christmas, that's a baby thing, right? When the Bough Breaks, this episode of It's All Been Tricked Before. Check out everything else on the network, our mothership, itsallbeendone.presents.com, IABD Presents.com. That's what I'm talking about. Go there, check it out, become a Patreon supporter, get all those bonus episodes. And now, when the bough breaks, you know the rest on It's All Been Tricked Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Tricked Before. Skeleton Crew again.
Once again, hello, this is Steven.
This is Jimmy-Jerome. I feel like we should stop saying Skeleton Crew. It's starting to sound dumb.
Lately, it's just us.
I mean, more than we'd like it to be.
Yeah.
Not that I don't enjoy your company.
Of course.
I do,
certainly.
very much. But it's nice to get some other voices in here, and it's nice when we have female voices to help
Very much.
balance out our masculine.
All that testosterone.
Yeah, exactly. So we're here to talk about When the Bough Breaks. Best episode of Star Trek or bestest episode of Star Trek? I'm kidding, obviously. First impressions.
I'm always hesitant when it's a kids episode, just because of And the Children Shall Lead, probably.
Yep. The original series never did a good kid episode, did they?
No, because we didn't like Miri either.
No.
Yeah,
all
Miri,
the kid episodes were terrible.
The Children Shall Lead.
They're bad.
I know there's another one in there.
So we'll...
I will say I did like this better than In the Children Shall Lead. Which is that's a very
so
low bar
more.
for me, as everyone knows.
Charlie X.
Charlie X, yes. So that it had that going against it, and I usually don't like the advanced races that can't get out of their own way. Although this advanced race didn't test them, so I feel like just in trying to recollect on it, I thought there were a lot of good moments. I don't know if overall I liked it a lot though. I didn't hate it.
That's good.
Yeah. So, I'll say that for my first impression. Didn't hate it. Thought it had some really good moments and some interesting ideas. But
I mean, that's similar to my thinking on it,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
I will say, and it's going to sound cheesy and dumb, and I fully admit that, and I would have said that it was cheesy and dumb 5 years ago. But I definitely have some different feelings watching this, being a parent.
I thought that while I watched it, I was like, I'm viewing this entirely differently in a lot of ways than you
There
are.
were a few moments, and we'll get to them later, but I actually did tear up.
Yeah.
And had tears in my eyes. And I know that I remembered this episode. I've seen it a few times.
Yeah.
I never had that before.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
So, it's dumb, but it's also true.
Yeah.
It's going to provoke something different in those little children. And I think that's okay. It was interesting. This is rare for Star Trek. It might be the first time ever, I'm not sure. But it was both directed and written by a woman.
Oh, okay.
Which is... I mean, I know there's a million jokes there about, of course, the women did the kids episode. But, I mean, I don't think there was a feminine energy to this.
No, it didn't.
Or a masculine energy.
Yeah.
Just like I think most episodes don't have a feminine or masculine, they do a good job of balance. Okay. I thought this was balanced as well. The writer was Hannah Louise Shear. She does have teleplay by for the Tasha Yar's last episode. Okay. It was directed by Kim Manners, who is a producer for The X-Files and Supernatural.
Oh, yes.
She was a director on Charlie's Angels and Mission Impossible and stuff. You are familiar with the producers of The X-Files and Supernatural?
I knew the name. I knew that name, and and the guy who played Radu, he was Deep Throat on X-Files.
Yes, he was. Yeah. She also directed 51 episodes of The X-Files, besides being a producer.
Right.
So I was... we got a lot of guest stars in this episode. I was about to say a lot of great guest stars. We have a lot of good guest stars.
Yeah.
Paul Lambert is the Melian. Was he the one that... I'm looking at him. I think he was... I don't recognize him. He might have been... no, I don't know. Never mind. The one that was really stand out... Say Paul Lambert's best known for Planet of the Apes and Spartacus and Twilight Zone. But I don't recognize him even after just watching this episode. Radu was Jerry Hardin. Him I recognize.
Yeah, I've seen him in a lot of things.
Well-known character actor, still alive.
Yep.
His credits kind of peter off after 2005. He's got a couple after that, but not many. But he's got 164 credits. Yeah. Best known for Big Trouble in Little China, The Firm, Deep Throat on The X-Files, Cujo.
Yeah.
So, pretty famous. And then, of course, we have Brenda Strong. Playing Rochelle. She's best known for Desperate Housewives, I would venture to say. What do you know her best for?
Sue Ellen Mischke,
Oh, yes, Dallas.
the Henry O. Harris from Seinfeld.
Right, sorry.
Yeah.
Dallas, she wasn't the new Dallas, but Seinfeld, yes.
Yeah.
When you said Sue Ann...
Sue Ellen. Sue Ellen.
For some reason,
that is a Dallas. That is a Dallas, yeah.
But that's not her. She played Ann Ewing on Dallas.
All right.
On the new Dallas.
Okay.
Not the old Dallas.
Gotcha.
I mean, she's still very active. She's most recently played Lillian Luthor on Supergirl. Lex and Lena's mother.
Yeah.
So she's on 16 episodes of Supergirl, so I've seen her a lot in that. And she's in that Suicide show on Netflix, 13 Reasons Why.
Oh, okay.
She's been in a few episodes of Fear the Walking Dead, The 100, so very, very active.
Yes.
She was the narrator on Desperate Housewives,
yes.
which is what I know her best.
Yeah.
Mary Alice Young, who kills herself in the pilot and then narrates the rest of the show. So there's a bunch of other guest stars, but those are the major ones. I mean, I liked the guest star acting. It just was extremely obvious to me who had their SAG card and could speak. And who couldn't.
Yeah.
It felt very weird that we had like these gathering of parents, but the two parents that uttered words on their scenes were the only two talking.
Yes.
Besides their leads.
Yeah.
And same thing on the planet. Like there were clear characters that had the thing with the kids. We had Harry, we had Alexandra, and Wesley. None of them spoke.
Yep.
And you'd think in these situations we'd have more people talking.
Yeah.
That was the biggest glaring problem to me.
That is weird.
I mean, it would cost them a lot more.
Sure.
But it was weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very weird.
I thought the episode's got up to a very, which I think this kind of brings it around, the very Orville start to me, just seeing the kid on the Enterprise.
Yeah.
And I feel like Orville, they have all kinds of episodes with kids.
Well, the Doctor's kids.
The Doctor's kids, yeah.
Prominently featured.
Yeah.
I think they're considered series leads at this point.
Yeah, and the joint captain, I can't think of her name.
The first officer?
Yeah.
Kelly Grayson?
Kelly Grayson. The guy she dated was a teacher.
Yes.
Also, so
yes,
it's
and Deanna Troi, Marina Sirtis, has played a teacher on the Orca.
That's right. Yeah. So to bring it all full circle, so I feel like it's funny that it feels weird to see it now, especially after watching TOS, but and then by Orville it feels very normal.
Sure.
But to see them,
but because of Next Gen, and what's interesting is DS9, because of its position, doesn't have a lot of kids on it. There's a couple. Yeah. But not a lot. Yeah. I mean, Cisco has his son with him, and Quark, the bartender, has a nephew. But in Voyager, just the way they did it, they didn't have kids until late in the series when they added the Borg children.
Okay.
But Enterprise doesn't have kids on it. Discovery doesn't have kids on it. So most of your kid fix on Star Trek is going to come from TNG. I thought they used them well. I
thought so too.
I mean, so it felt a little bit forced to me, that opening scene where Harry runs into Riker.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking in my head, okay, we only see pieces of their days anyway.
Right.
And they were trying to establish that Riker knows these kids. They all know these kids. They're not living separate from our main characters.
And probably also, especially in 87, but at any time, hey, you may not have been watching the last 6 weeks. Just so you know, there are kids on the Enterprise now.
I mean, yes, but I also thought it was just like establishing that they're not a separate world. It is integrated.
Yes, yeah.
And it also, the way Riker reacted and the way Harry reacted, his father reacted, that happens every week.
Yeah.
Riker has a kid run into him at least once a week. Sure. And so, to me, the normalization of that scene went ahead and told us something we hadn't seen yet about what happens on the Enterprise team. Yeah. Which is important to set up for this episode. Although, if Harry was over 18, that could have been a meet-cute scene. There were several scenes this episode, and just the way Riker was looking down at him, I'm sorry, it was creepy. There were several scenes in this episode where I'm like, they don't quite know how to react to the children because they're not used to acting with them. Yeah. And so, sometimes it comes across as creepy and awkward. Yes. When it shouldn't be.
I thought... that little part at the beginning might seem forced, but even more forced was the weird exposition about the Albion legend.
Oh, that was...
Hey, let's talk about this thing. Oh, hey, is that it?
Well, they had Riker explain to us. Was like, what's so interesting about this system? Right. Which... To be fair, she grew up running from rape gangs.
That's right.
She doesn't have a chance to learn such things.
That's true.
She wasn't told fairy tales.
But it was very let me tell you about what this episode's gonna let me get you involved.
I kind of liked that.
It was
right?
it was fun.
Not that. I agree with you. I kind of liked that Riker was the one who
was really into it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, for me, he's the one that's fantasy and fun.
I like the Atlantis analogy, and didn't he reference a couple other ones?
Yes.
We didn't know. They did the things we've been asking them to do, which is reference something we don't know about.
And yet they missed the most obvious, in my opinion, Brigadoon.
Which
is the musical about the Scottish Highland city that disappears into the mist.
That's right.
That seems way more relevant than Atlantis.
Could be.
Because the civilization didn't die, it's just hiding.
That's true. That is a better reference.
But
unless we think
Atlantis the civilization's always there, but hiding, whereas Brigadoon's actually only existing for like a day a few days every 100 years. But still. I enjoyed that scene that when Riker came on the bridge, it was Picard back at Worf and Yar's console, and everybody was gathered around Picard watching him use the panel.
Yeah.
And that to me, like, sometimes Kirk would like shove people out of the way and take their station, but to see a captain like interested and using the sensors and the rest of the crew just staring at him, I don't know, they were humoring him, but I also appreciated Picard like getting involved rather than just sitting in the center seat. I don't know.
Yeah. I always loved the return of a cloaking device, and I was happy that they referenced the Romulans. And I thought they ended up saying, ahead of the later part, that like this, your cloaking device is killing you.
Yeah.
When they were like, well, there are times we can get in there, when it fluctuates or whatever. And I was like, well, that was the thing with the Romulans cloaking device to even just cloak their ships is. Well, yeah, they can cloak their ships, but they can't run shields at the same time.
Right, because it takes so much power.
And I thought, well, for a planet, that makes sense. That at some point when they when they send that blast at you, then they can. There's going to be opportunities. Which I thought that was nice. It was kind of consistent actually in a lot of ways. I also thought when whatever they sent at him and blasted him 3 days away. The comedic part of me would have enjoyed that every time they got back there, they just blasted 3 days away.
That would have been funny. I could see that being like a comedy sketch that takes place over the course of like a year.
Yes.
And they keep coming back. Or even more than 1 year. Yeah. So a couple things to bounce off what you just said. One, the being tossed, because then they said, you'll be tossed so far that by the time you come back, your kids will be grandparents.
Right. Yeah.
That was, I swear, whoever was trying to decide what spinoff to make after Deep Space Nine was like, what would Roddenberry want? And they're watching this show. Oh, he wants a ship tossed across the galaxy. Let's toss Voyager 70 years away.
I think you're right.
They built a whole series off of it.
You're right.
Well, then the other thing
it's kind of similar to the I'm gonna hit you so hard your kid's gonna come out dizzy.
Yeah.
It's similar. Yeah,
that's
similar
true.
Thing. Yeah,
that's true.
But yeah, I like that.
But then you build a whole series.
Yeah.
But then the other thing when you talked about the cloaking device, the effect, and I wrote this down too. And I mentioned it to you, like. I take for granted so much the Starscapes in modern Star Trek.
Yeah.
And the original series reminded me how bad they were in the 60s. And just the opening credits, the depth of stars they show is amazing.
Yeah.
And then the effect of the planet before it decloaked was great.
Yeah, we talked about last week how the planets look so great on this. But yeah, I thought that was great. And the spinning of the Enterprise was really cool too. When it did get sent 3 days away.
And we have seen, well, maybe we haven't seen it yet, but definitely we'll see people look for Romulans and Klingons just by visually seeing if stars are displaced or something.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Ships.
Yeah.
I swear we see Kirk's crew do it. Maybe they do it in movie 5 or 6, but I know we see it in a Next Gen movie where they're like trying to find the cloaked ship and they're looking.
Well, and I think this is another place where Star Wars ripped off Star Trek.
Probably.
In
the whole thing? No.
Is it? Oh, it's in it's in Attack of the Clones, where Kenobi can't find this planet, and he's looking on the star maps, and they bring it up, and turns out he's like, well, there's this area where all the gravity's being pulled this way, and and it's like, that's essentially
except this device was so good that you only got a couple little fluctuations.
Right.
You didn't see all the gravity.
In Star Wars, it was they just changed the map. It wasn't that was the problem. It was just a bad map. But still, I think it was a similar concept. But.
I will say though, where's the shock when the planet decloaks?
Yeah.
Nobody seemed.
No.
Riker seemed excited. Everybody else was just kind of like, oh, interesting. Are they that desensitized by the 24th century?
They can't be.
They can't be. They can't.
No.
If they are, what's the point of even living in that world?
What? Yeah. Why are you seeking out new worlds and new civilizations?
So then they take circling back slightly.
Yep.
Troy read thousands of minds.
Yeah.
And at first I was complaining to you about the shouldn't it be billions or at least millions, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
But if the planet's dying off, maybe they do only have thousands left, and maybe that was a hint early on.
Oh, that's a good point.
I mean, everybody in this episode lives in one complex, if you noticed.
Yeah.
The computer's in one room.
Yeah.
They all live in apartments around it. Which bothered
Custodian.
me. It's another thing where we've got a whole planet, but we're only going to show you one building.
Well, yeah, and when Wesley later asked the Custodian, hey, where are all the Enterprise children?
They're all there.
They're all next door.
It's one apartment complex. Yeah. And I will say, it was kind of interesting. They're so used to not having visitors from other planets. They don't have any chambers to receive them. So that guy, Radu, was just like, come to my dining room. Because then we see him and his wife, I assume, and Wesley eating in that room later.
Yeah.
At the same table.
Oh, you're right.
So I think he was just like, we don't have any big government centers. Just come on over to my house.
Well, and there's, and I could almost buy that, like, okay, maybe there's just that many people left, except that big, when they go and look at the big power generator, which I love that view. I thought that was a great, that was a cool effect of the thing that generated the power. I was like, oh, this is really cool.
We're watching this on Blu-ray. I wonder if anything's been updated.
That's a good question, but it looked great.
So, obviously in the 60s they updated a lot of things, and they still don't look great.
Sure.
I don't think that they did that. I think they just remastered the footage. I don't think they redid the special
but
effects.
that effect looked great. Like it looked like they were right there, and it gave you an idea of the power and the depth.
The difference between 80s and 60s technology.
Yes.
This is going back to the kids. First of all, I liked the world building that they now learn calculus at like age 8.
Yeah.
Which I feel like we're basically teaching algebra in kindergarten these days. Like a basic version of it. No, seriously, we are.
Yeah.
Like a basic version to set up. Rather, I mean, we're not doing x plus 8, but you know, those concepts are laid in so early, and I've often thought about that. When you have all these high level concepts, you just got to keep shoving it down.
Yeah,
but still, him so young to have calculus. Yeah. But then I did kind of enjoy when it came back around. And at the end, he's like, I want to be an artist. And the dad's like, you can be whatever you want, but you're still a calculus.
Yeah, I appreciated that too.
It's almost like you still have to go to college because you need a fallback plan. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't think it was quite that. I don't think it was quite that. Riker obviously volunteers to go down initially. And then they take Troy and Crusher just when the plan gets to pick who they're taking.
Yeah.
And Picard's only reaction to that is, interesting choices. Which feels really weird and out of character.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
they are interesting choices, I guess.
Is he commenting on they just took women? Or is he commenting? So. Yeah.
I think, like, we gave you Riker, and you're just going to take the 2 women in my command crew. Interesting. I mean, Yar, they could have taken Yar.
That's true.
But they didn't. I don't know. Troy says a line, and this bothered me, but maybe I'm just too human-centric. Humans are unnaturally attached to their children.
Yeah, I wrote that down too.
So most races aren't that attached to their children? Is that a Star Trek thing?
That's the thought I had too.
I don't think we've ever seen that in any other Star Trek.
I mean,
most species, like if you go out in the wild,
right,
and you see to use Zoe's favorite animal, an elephant, and elephant has children, and you take the elephant's children, the elephant's not going to be happy.
Right. Well, I would feel like Romulans and Klingons are the same.
I would feel like any living species.
Yeah.
I
mean, know the Horta was?
I am sure there are some animals in the animal kingdom that aren't protective of their children. I know there are. I just, off the top of my head, it's escaping. But I know there are.
Sure.
But that's the exception, not the rule.
Well,
so the fact that you go out in the galaxy, intelligent species, humans are the exception by the fact that they're attached to their kids?
That didn't make any sense. And
I guess she's probably saying Beta Zeds, they don't give a crap about their kids, right?
Well, and it kind of makes it real dichotomous in that these people want children so badly that they wouldn't understand the other's plight. That doesn't, and I think that might be at the core of a problem. The episode is we want children so badly; they're very important to us. They're not important to you.
And Rochelle, Brenda Strong is the last child that was born.
Yeah,
she's not that old.
No.
They got to remember being parents,
right?
I mean, certainly Radu's generation had kids,
right? Well, and if they don't care about it, I mean, if it's just to keep the planet going, To get back even more fundamental, I don't understand. This is another advanced race that can't figure the simplest things out. It seems like they should have been able to figure all this out.
Well, and then to repopulate their species, they only need 7.
Yeah.
Really? 7.
Yeah, it was like...
By the time you get to second generation...
It's Book of Genesis.
They would be...
It's Book of Genesis
Yes! It's not enough
repopulating
kids.
the world. No.
So, Battlestar Galactica, the new reboot, I want to say, and I'm probably getting numbers wrong or whatever, but I want to say that after the big Cylon battle in the opening, there were like 50,000 humans left, and they were worried that was enough to repopulate the species because enough genetic disparity.
Right. Out of 470 people or however many on the Enterprise.
About 1,000.
1,000 now.
1,000 on the Enterprise.
I feel like there'd be more than 7 kids too. But I also feel like
more kids.
They just took the brightest. And,
they did, because we saw the classroom and they only took the one kid.
So either they took the best and brightest, or it was very much a matchup because it was like, oh, we want the artistic kid and we want this kid.
I'm pretty sure they said they took them because they were special. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure it was a. But I did like seeing the classroom because we hadn't seen the classroom yet.
Yeah.
That was cool. I wish we had more stock shots of the classroom in between. Now, to contradict this whole thing about humans love their children and numerous species, they have the meeting with the parents. And one of the first things Crusher says, Dr. Crusher, whose kid is one of those kidnapped, says, we all knew what the risks were when we brought our kids out here. What? What?
That seems like not the right time for that.
First of all, that doesn't match the way she acts the rest of the episode. Or in previous episodes when Wesley was in trouble.
Exactly.
But second of all, like, I don't care that she's senior staff. She's a mother in pain. And she's just going to tell these other parents, well, we knew the risks.
Yeah. No.
Like, if I take my kid to the beach and the kid drowns, I'm not going to turn to my wife and be like, well, we knew the risks.
Yeah.
No, it's not. That's not realistic.
And that's not the time for that.
So dumb.
I liked the probe that came in. It was very motion picture type.
Yeah.
It was horizontal instead of vertical, but it felt very...
The only thing that bothered me about that, the main thing that bothered me about that was we already established that these Aldeans were super sensitive to light, and that was about as bright as the light gets.
You're right.
Like, it was like blinding Wesley.
Yeah. And then they never really went back to the whole sensitive to light thing, because it felt like their planet was just as well lit.
Well, that was probably a directing choice. Yeah. So we will blame Kim Manners for directing it that way. She didn't pay enough attention to her script. She was probably halfway done filming and then got to that line. She's like, damn it. Should I go back and reshoot it all? No, it's too late. I mean, probably not, but I could see that happening. That's not my alternate episode, but it could be. Could be.
There's a point where I think Crusher says, perhaps we can help the Aldeans. She says to him, it's like, we know. That's why we have you here. Yeah. We want you to help us.
I mean, you'd think that would be the first thing they ask. Right. Instead of, let's just steal your kids.
Right.
Like, anyway, to help us. And honestly, okay, so here's another thing that bothers me. Like, simple solution that could have happened, even if Crusher couldn't cure them. Assuming that it was genetic as they claim instead of radiation. Starfleet colonizes planets all the time, and all the Aldeans want is not to fix their own childbearing, but to pass on the culture.
Right.
So if they put a call out to the Federation, hey guys, we got this mystical, great, artsy planet. Whatever hipsters are in the Federation want to live like this because it's a hipster planet. Yeah. Hipsters, come here. Live like us. We'll teach you how to live like us.
It's the Aldous Huxley Brave New World thing, right? Like, we fixed everything, so now all we do is create art and stuff.
But yeah, I think they'd have no shortage of colonists that want to come and learn their lifestyle. Which would be way simpler than stealing kids.
And again, maybe I'm contradicting myself, because I feel like all advanced races should have stuff figured out. But
sure.
But I also think it's wrong to think that every race, even advanced or otherwise, would go the exact same way.
Sure.
And so, obviously, this is their blind spot, is like, we don't know how to solve these. I'm really explaining a problem that is a problem that they should have been able to figure out a better solution than this.
So, people are ruled by emotion and not by logic, obviously, or we would not have President Donald Trump, who I'm sure has been impeached by now.
It's very possible.
Actually, he will have been impeached. He's probably been acquitted by now.
Yeah.
Because there's no moral spine left.
He will have been impeached.
But. Yeah, finally.
I can't believe that.
Finally, I've been saying it for years.
I can't believe
but still not removed.
Not removed, but he will have been impeached.
But my point on that was, that makes me forgive the Aldeans for being so short-sighted, because
Sure.
they decided this was what we need to do. This
That
is what
makes
we're going to
sense.
do. And plus, it was only these people that live in this apartment building. They didn't
Right,
talk to the rest of the
right.
planet. In fact, the rest of the planet's probably like, what are you doing? I mean, they didn't tell the rest of the planet that they're stealing children. They're going to keep them hidden in this gated community. But what I don't get is why Picard didn't immediately come back with 6 other solutions.
Right.
Because Picard could say, hey, we can get you colonists. You don't have to steal our kids.
Right. Yeah, and maybe even something more slick than we can help. So somebody says, is that your final answer? Which I thought was great because well ahead of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Well, that was the final answer thing was weird too because Radu kept saying, let's negotiate. And then he was like, nope, this is it. This is our final offer. I'm like, you didn't negotiate at all. You're just saying this is it?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the negotiation?
See, again, not very advanced.
I do think them relying on the computer, that was a TOS episode.
Oh, that was several TOS episodes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they call it the Custodian. I was trying to think of some of the names of some of the other ones.
Well, there was the one TOS called the Janitor. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. But, the Return of the Archons, the
Prognocators or whatever, what they call them in this episode? In this
the
episode.
Progenitors.
Progenitors.
Yeah.
That sounded like something from the original series.
There
I
were
looked
lots
up
of-
Memory Alpha. And I
There were
couldn't-
lots of ancient races that set things up. That which survives was the ancient computer that set it up and had the protectors that looked like Lee Merriweather.
Yeah.
There's so many of those episodes.
Yeah,
Like all those
we're
lines.
still in that period where they're still reusing original series ideas.
Yeah, which
A lot.
granted, a lot of the ideas on the original series were great, but not necessary to revisit. I know the idea of your children disappearing. I wrote down dream to some, nightmare to others, depending on what's going on with the kids and what
I mean, there are
matters.
some mornings.
That's what I think. It's like, oh my God, Calgon, take me away. Boop, bloop. Wait, what? No, I didn't mean that.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
That's what would happen.
If it's a dream, it's for like a
Right.
second.
Yeah, exactly.
For the most, unless you're Miss Hannigan and you're running the orphanage.
It's a dream and then immediately a nightmare. Yeah.
Miss Hannigan would have really liked that. The other thing that bothered me in this about when the kids were taken, and this again I think might go back to who has the SAG card or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
None of the kids were crying. None of them seemed the least bit upset. And maybe we could say this is 24th century sensibilities, but
I guess
it doesn't feel
but
like it.
No, I feel like they should be freaking out.
I mean, Alexandra, who was actually played by twins, Jessica and Vanessa Bova.
Oh, okay.
She, like, one scene into this is, like, kissing Brenda Strong.
Yeah.
And then you have Katie, like, thanking the old man before she leaves. I'm like,
Well, actually, that would have been my reaction. Would have been a couple seconds into it, kissing Brenda Strong.
well, yes, but... Okay, fair point. Fair
Even
point.
at 7 years old, it probably would have been my reaction. But
Spoiler alert for Wooz's rankings here. I think we knew that before we started the
I
episode.
think so.
Yeah, it just... They were so weird.
I mean, as a kid, if you got lost for 2 minutes at the mall,
You're upset.
you're freaking
Yes. Yeah, and
I think kids today probably do that too.
And
I'm going to guess.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I think this is where it comes back to me talking about different emotions. Like seeing some of the pass-offs with the parents, the kids with the parents, like try not to picture my own daughter in that situation.
Sure.
I get the emotional stuff there. And I don't know. It's a scary situation, and if anything, I think they underplayed it by far.
Yeah, I thought
Both
so
of the
too.
parents and the kids.
I thought so too.
I think the parents would have been more mad at Picard, even the ones with uniforms.
Yeah, and I almost thought that the Aldeans too, if they were desperate to get kids,
Yeah.
I felt like they should have been even more like. And I think Brenda Strong's the only one who was like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy! This is finally I got a kid." Da, da, da. The rest of them were just like, "All right, go to your room and eat your vegetables or whatever kind of a thing." Which I also wrote. Parents just don't understand. Like when Wesley's asking questions, like that's enough of the questions. Like to quote Jazzy Jeff in The Fresh Prince, parents just don't understand. Even when you're captured by another planet's people because they can't have kids, those parents still won't understand you.
Rochelle was not Radu's daughter, was she?
I don't think so.
Because it felt like that at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
And then it stopped feeling like that.
Yeah,
Where are her parents?
that's a good question.
And why did Radu not have children until now? Because when he was like normal child having age, Rochelle was like just being born or before that. So he would have been within that window of when they were still having children.
And Brenda Strong's got to be in her mid to late 20s, I think, at this point.
At this point, she was born in 1960. This was 1988.
Okay,
so she's 28.
Late 20s, yeah.
28, roughly.
So it's been that long.
Her
It seems
birthday's
like
the day before mine. I
There
didn't
you
know
go.
that. I mean,
So,
23 years before
it
mine.
seems like they could have come to a solution or an idea to solve this before the Enterprise wanders by.
Did you... So the sequence where Wesley escapes, he's sleeping in his full uniform and boots, and they're cool with that. Like, that's every kid that's like hiding under the blankets
That
fully
reminds me,
dressed.
I have to add one more to my Wesley annoying scale.
Well, did they cut the scene where Radu tucks him in and he's like got the blanket on his chin so they can't see he's wearing the outfit? And also, if you're going to stay to the rebellion, do you have to in the middle of the night? I guess so, but then the kids would have been more sleepy and whiny.
Yeah.
And does Wesley really need the custodian to be quiet? There's nobody else in that room.
No.
I mean, we do realize it's part of the same apartment complex, so we don't know how thin the walls are.
Yeah.
But if anybody lives close enough that they hear that custodian like through their wall, that's annoying.
I couldn't place the custodian's voice either. I didn't.
It's uncredited. There's nothing on IMDb.
It sounded like
every
one of the
office says uncredited.
Okay, because it very much sounded like a couple of the guys that did a lot of the trailer things back
Probably
in the 80s
was.
and 90s.
I don't know. Crusher doing the sensor pass off to Wesley. I buy that he got what she was going for.
Yeah.
Everything else, like, could you be more obvious?
Yeah.
Here, son, take my hand. There's nothing in it.
Again, how advanced are the Albions that they don't...
I mean, I get that they're so advanced they become simple again because they're too reliant. I get that. But still, that was the most obvious, and not just from the camera angle.
I know.
The most obvious pass off. And then Wesley, like, walking around her, should have been sending alarm bells off, too.
Mm-hmm.
It was a horrible scene. What did you think of Picard's interactions with the children?
I wrote down
creepy.
The very end of the episode, W.C. Picard.
W.C.
W.C. Fields said never act with children or animals.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like that's all. I feel like he's just channeling him. Yeah, I'm with you. I think they were alternately creepy and amusing. I thought the one at the end was actually funny. When he turns around, he's got the little creature attached to his back. That one was funny. But yeah, they all seem very... And I guess I know people like this, and I'm not one of them. I don't have kids, but there are people, I think, that children are aliens to them, and they do not know what to do.
I get that for Picard, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. It was awkward. You'd think even if they're aliens, you're commanding a starship with children.
Mm-hmm.
I acknowledge in the pilot he says, I'm not good with them, help me with them. But still...
But he meets aliens all the time, too. Or what we call aliens to us, I should say.
Extraterrestrials.
Yeah, extraterrestrials.
Non-humans.
Non-Earth, yeah.
But... I don't know. I mean, the little girl was that intent on hugging this guy she doesn't even know?
Yeah.
Just because she knows he's the captain?
I did like that scene. As much as I bang on having these kid things, that scene I actually did enjoy. That I thought it was very cute.
And I did love the exchange between Harry and Picard, where Harry's like, "Tell my dad I'm sorry."
Yes.
And Picard's like, "You're gonna tell him." He was suddenly comfortable with him for a second. Maybe because Harry was acting so mature.
Yeah,
he's
that's
like, I get that.
Yeah. Speaking of the kids, I like the dolphin moment. The one kid who sculpted. I thought that was the best relationship, I guess, between a new kid and the parents.
But playing into the fact that these Aldeans are simple, he's like, they're like fish, but they're not fish. Fish?
Yeah.
Okay. He just said they're not fish. And also, they really think it's genetic to them when they're like, we don't have fish anymore. They haven't wondered about that?
Yeah.
We used to have fish. We don't have any anymore. Wonder how that happened.
Yeah.
Could it be radiation? Could it?
And to that point, I do appreciate that this was essentially a climate change episode. They're like, the similar thing happened on Earth in the 20th century. 21st century. It's like, yep, nailed it. Yep.
Well, I guess that's another clue for us on what the real situation is, because fish have shorter lifespans, so they would have died out quicker.
That's true.
But
that's true.
Sorry, go ahead.
One more Star Wars moment, and this was the Brenda Strong when she picks up the kid and says, "I have you now," which is what Darth Vader says right before he thinks he has. I have you now. Right at the end of Star Wars: New Hope, when he thinks he has Skywalker, and then he gets. Spoiler alert! He gets shot by the Millennium Falcon.
What?
Yep.
Well, when Wesley was arguing with Radu about staying, Radu should have been like, "Wesley, now I am your father." I didn't really think the kids would just adjust this. I just can't get past that.
No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
We're going to be putting this near the bottom, aren't we?
I mean, it's...
Not to jump ahead, but this is going down low.
It's going to be in the lower quadrant, I think so. Yeah, it's... I mean...
I actually felt so much better about this episode right after we finished watching it with the emotional moments until we start talking about it, and then it just falls apart.
A better episode, and again, this is talking, but dealing with that kind of, like the kids being separated, if you're not going to deal with it, they're emotionally destroyed right now. Mm-hmm. It's 7 years later, and it's the Stockholm Syndrome, and they don't know anything any better.
That'd be interesting.
And it's these kids that are like, wait, who? No, your dad was, these kids disappear off a starship, and they have no idea where they are, and then eventually one of the kids figures out or gets free. That's an episode. That would be an
original series.
Now that's an episode.
That is. Yeah. Oh my god, that's great. Or maybe they took the kids, but the starship wouldn't cooperate, so they destroyed the starship.
Yeah.
And they've come looking
and then they leave on.
But it's been years.
Yeah.
Because, with Kirk, it was years before they'd send him out to investigate things.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a better episode.
Yeah.
Besides the climate change, I really thought one of the messages of this episode was don't trust tech too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just understand how it works.
Yeah.
Don't just be like, I got a cell phone. I mean, they didn't have cell phones.
With the Custodian, there were, and I think that happened on TOS, but I definitely, we don't know. The Custodian takes care of it. What's the power source? You don't need to know that. We don't even care. We just know what happens.
Getting to the end of the episode, I hated the line, the legend will die, but the people will live.
Yeah. That was cheesy. It definitely was.
But I enjoyed LaForge covering his laugh with a cough. And then they're all just like, nope, we're laughing at Picard. I enjoyed that. It was better than most of the laugh lines.
That's what I was going to say. That was much better than the fake cheesy ones, because I laughed too. I found it amusing. This was the dirtiest line, maybe in Star Trek history. Probably not. The kid said...
They use F-bombs in Discovery.
Oh, then maybe not. But the kid said, I like working with the wood.
I missed that entirely. That
is filthy and borderline scandalous. And also the name of my sex tape. The other thing I liked is when they mentioned that it was an entire planet that is terminally ill. That's every planet. Everybody on every planet is terminally ill.
That's true.
We're all going to die.
That's true.
Yeah.
Good point.
Except for, the Telosians, or there's somebody out there that theory is immortal.
Qs.
Yeah, the Qs, yeah.
The Qs.
The only other thing I have is fashion.
Oh, yeah.
The Albions.
Yeah.
Kind of like with what we were talking about last episode about that kind of 24th century fashion.
So it occurs to me right now, the fashion sucked in this episode. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Because this is a planet that's spending all their time on culture and the arts.
Oh, you're right. They should have.
And they have very utilitarian clothes.
I will say I liked Brenda Strong's ponytail. I thought that was great. her side ponytail.
Sure.
Yeah, that was great. But other than that,
the clothing should have been more impressive.
Yeah, like there was no Bill Teese kind of sexy thing.
They live in the other gated community.
Okay.
This is one. I like to think this is one gated community. The rest of the planet doesn't know what they're up to.
And I'll stay in the perv zone and just say, you've got Brenda Strong and you don't put her in some kind of Bill Teese kind of... Well, you know what? I take that back. That makes sense. It's an episode where they're going to be around kids. Those things should not mix.
No, they should not.
I'm a very liberal thinker, but no, you can't have a Bill Teese outfit with a kid.
Harry did have the sleeves that were missing half the sleeve.
That's true.
But that wasn't sexy.
That's true. No.
My alternate episode here is, in the original series... All the kids are stolen from the Enterprise, and that's why they don't have kids.
Oh, see, that gets back to what we were talking about. Yeah, that's that.
I mean, there you go. That doesn't really fit with anything else we've done with Star Trek, but I like that idea.
That fits with the idea we were talking about. Mine is that Brenda Strong's character is the candy bar heiress of Aldea. Yeah. So she, whatever one of the top candy bars on Aldea is. I mean, if they're a planet of culture,
they're gonna have candy bars.
They have to have great candy bars because they don't have to worry about anything else.
The best food in the galaxy.
Yeah.
How could but all they were giving the children was fruit. Did you notice that too?
Yeah.
That goes against what they are.
That is not an advanced planet.
No, that's not high culture.
It is not.
Unless they've gotten so high culture they went back to simplicity, but I don't think that's how it works.
But no, I
mean, you look at that ultra modern and it's very simple and plain. But still, I don't buy it.
They would have a healthy Snickers bar, which tastes like a Snickers bar, but is perfectly healthy.
And with all organic ingredients.
Yes,
and whatever.
that's exactly it.
Except all the cows died, so they don't have milk for
Oh, that's
chocolate
right, because
anymore.
they killed him with.
With the radiation. How annoying was Wesley? Scale of 1 to 10.
I only had one part where I really annoyed me when he was kind of talking condescendingly to the kids. Yeah, he was talking baby speak to the one little girl.
A little bit.
That, and then the.
But he doesn't have any younger siblings, so I excuse that.
I guess so, and then whatever I gave him another point for earlier, so I give him a 3.
I was going to give him a 1. I didn't think he was annoying
Okay,
at all.
all right.
So 2. I thought he handled the situation as well as a teenager would have handled it.
And maybe just and maybe
better, if not better.
And maybe I was also a little annoyed that he was just the big kid and they were all little kids, but that's not his fault. But either way, I give him a 3.
So his average is 2, which makes this tied with the lowest episodes of Annoyance.
Okay,
It's up there with Lonely Among Us, Justice, and Code of Honor.
Okay.
Who was the annoying person in this episode?
Oh, I think Wesley's stepmom.
What was her name? I don't remember. Was it Duana?
That sounds right.
Duana was somebody. I thought that was stepmom. I'll just put Wesley's stepmom just in case.
Yeah, because she
Adoptive mother.
Yeah,
Stepmom.
yeah. She at no point did she seem excited to have him. She was just ready to. Well, no, that's not fair. She was maybe not excited, but
she wasn't a SAG
she was happy to
actress,
have
so she
him.
didn't get to do much.
Yeah. Other than tell him not to ask questions.
I'm just gonna put all the audience.
Yeah.
Because no, I don't want to put all the audience. I'm gonna put Picard because he should have suggested alternatives.
Yep.
That was
somebody should have.
No, I take that back again. Sorry. There's so many people to be annoyed with in this episode.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put Dr. Crusher for we all knew the risks.
Yeah. Oh.
That to me is the worst side of the episode. So I'm gonna put Dr. Crusher, which hurts my heart very much because I love Dr. Crusher.
Hey.
But and I've already chosen Picard before. I've never chose Crusher before. Right now I've got 1 episode Picard, The Big Goodbye.
Sure.
1 episode Troy last week. And 2 Yars. And 2 Wesleys. So we got to get around to the rest of that bridge crew. Attractive.
Yeah, Brenda Strong. I have a hard time believing anyone's going to defeat her the rest of this season. So
Rochelle it is.
Yeah, never say never, but I'm going to say...
I am going to put in parentheses Brenda Strong, so in 6 weeks when you say, who's Rochelle? I'm going to stick with Ann Jameson. Brenda Strong doesn't really do it for me.
No, all right,
I enjoy her acting.
Sure.
But, and none of the other people in this episode really stood out to me.
Yeah.
So we're going to stick with Ann Jameson. I like Ann Jameson. I mean... I know I kicked McDougal off after a nice long run because I felt like I needed to, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I should have kept McDougal. She was great. But that was episode 2. I didn't want to keep the same person all season.
Sometimes, fatigue sets in.
When we get to the end of the season, I think McDougal's probably going to do it for me, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Ranking the episode. Better than Code of Honor.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah. Yep.
The one above that is The Big Goodbye.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
I think this is worse.
I think so too.
I think this just, again, when we finished this episode, I was feeling pretty good about it and thought it would go higher. And the more we've talked about it, the more my opinion's gone down.
There were things about The Big Goodbye I liked that, even though overall I didn't. Obviously, we didn't love it, but there were some.
Yeah.
I think just for the talk he has with the police lieutenant at the end, I think that for me sticks out for that.
It amazes me in the episode they actually handled the children pretty well.
Yeah.
Normally children would drag them down.
Right.
Interesting concepts, not well handled, not well thought out. Mm-mm. This was a first draft that needed some work.
Yes. Yeah.
And they went ahead and shot it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen this episode a few times. Like I said, it emotionally affected me more than what I've watched in the past.
Yeah.
So I liked it on that aspect.
And that's, and like I said, I thought that last scene with Picard and the moment with the dolphin were very sweet moments. But if you have more connection with the new parents and the old parents, if they have a bigger reaction, we get a little more of a sense of, oh my God, my kids, I don't know. I think those moments land even more, but as it is, I think those 2 kids just carried them and they were fine. But
we needed something better.
It's kind of like in The Children Shall Lead, which is that one. It's like we hate our parents, and then they see their parents in the video, and they're like, "Oh, we're all crying. Now we realize we shouldn't have killed our parents." But much different context, but
that
similar.
Bad too.
Oh, it is. It's
next week we'll be talking Home Soil.
Home Soil.
From the description of the episode, it feels like it'll be their Horda episode.
Okay.
On Valara 3, Geordi and Data discover a microscopic life form responsible for the death of an engineer stationed on the base. And if you read the longer description, it talks about they come across a non-carbon-based object that glows and gives the appearance of life, and it attempts to communicate with the crew. It's clear they've encountered a life form like no other. So my immediate thought goes to Devil in the Dark. We'll see. I don't remember this one that well.
Devil in the Dark.
Devil in the Dark's a great episode. But, okay, so here's the thing. If we want to compare them to bad episodes, I feel like that reflects favorably on TNG.
Yes.
When you compare them to some of the best episodes of the original series, and I put Devil in the Dark pretty high up there.
I think
I don't remember where we ranked it, but it was, I mean, in my memory, it's a great episode.
Yeah. I feel like it's
so
might be top
I feel
10.
like that might be a bad thing to compare it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be talking home soil next time. Until then, live long.
And prosper, and keep an eye on those kids.
Yeah. It's All Been Done presents.
Who's got the time?